Sure how great I feel about a Faceless Void ban when you've already got a Pugner, though. One of the better heroes at being able to stop that aggression. So, clearly just wanting to enable Krish as much as they can.
Has the Pugner been banned out? Maybe game 1. I don't.
Yes. Pretty sure it was game 2. I think it was TNC that banned it, and they've just banned the Mars instead this game.
Yeah, you might be right, actually. So, have the possibility now for TNC, like you said, Pugner Storm, very good combo. Summit, they've got a good combo in themselves as well. Blink in from the DK, into stun, into follow-up stun in the Ink Swell. So, really feel like both sides are pretty happy with their opening phase.
I would say so as well. The DK still has flexibility, of course. Can go 1, 2, or 3. Depends on what the laning matchup is going to be at the end of the day. Summit Gaming are going to be in the driver's seat to be able to influence that with their next phase of picks. So really, I feel like they're still just going to go on the back of, all right, well, let's just win our lanes and then go from there. They're going to ban out CK with the strongest laners in the game. Coddle, same boat. Enigma, we saw that Bok was eventually able to influence, of course, off the back of a decent start to the game, but late game Enigma, it's always something that you need to be concerned about. And Razor, I mean, another strong laner that can be flexed into a multitude of positions. So I like Summit Gaming's mentality behind this of, look, if we can't get past the laning stage, we're never going to get to the mid and late game. So let's just make sure we win the laning stage to give ourselves the best shot.
Now, we were speaking about TNC having kind of some issues with their objective taking in game 2. Do you feel like the Pugner, with this pick, you have the possibility to go more into Nether Blast, so you don't have to be too concerned about not being able to take towers early, or would you still like to guarantee some early towers?
I think you want to guarantee it. Like, it's always good to have the option of going more points in Nether Blast, but all of Pugner's spells are great. So if you can afford to go more points into Nether Ward and more points into the G-Crep, you want to, right? You want the 1 point in Nether Blast just to be able to secure range creeps, but I don't think if you've got other sources of tower damage, you want to be expending that mana too much outside of, you know, of course, the heals that are going to be coming through for the rest of your team.
Dire team pick.
So, what are they going to go? Shaman from TNC, so there you go. You've got now ability to be able to take towers. The support that it's at least able to have some control as well, because that's something that Pugner does lack. One of the few things in the toolkit, but it's a very
10 seconds remaining.
Kind of, it's again a very weak support duo in regards to really squishy. So if Summit, they want to go down this route that's able to find the backline, then Shaman and Pugner could have a difficult time.
Yeah, I mean, of things like a puck, but it kind of goes both ways, right? You've got instant catch with the Shaman, you've got Nether Ward that's great against it, but it's also amazing control against these 3 PNC heroes. And, you know, decent follow-up for something like a Dragon Knight, or even setting up for a Dragon Knight. See what avenue they go down. Love the clockwork. Love it. I mean, it's something that you can put in the position 5 role as well, if you wanted to go a little bit more of a passive, like a range style of hero, or the position 1, and, you know, against the Pugner, against the Shaman, Battery Assault just absolutely destroys their impact.
Yeah, there's a lot of flex on Summit, like you mentioned. Could be Grim DK, you could keep the DK flex and not really show anything, maybe pick your carry here, but I don't know if you can for Summit, just because you don't see the offlaner or the carry hero on TNC, so I'm just trying to think of what they'd run.
There's no real, like, just solid carry left. Can't drow because you're against a Storm Spirit, even though it would have been nice with the clockwork. You've gone ahead and banned the Medusa yourself, you banned the CK yourself. TA's gone, Lifestealer's gone.
Radiant team pick.
Is left for them to pick here. Okay. I mean, it can be flexed, I suppose. It's not like it's very common for that to happen, but they do have some level of flex left. And it's with a Grimstroke, right? So that's just going to enable diving in onto the backlines without as much concern.
I think it was always like you kind of wanting another jumping hero in the mid lane, but it's always a bit difficult to pick just because it's going to be into an instant hex, and Nether Ward is going to mitigate your damage a lot. So it's not like it was going to be the perfect pick, but I think it's going to help out a lot with the control for Summit, just the tempo overall.
I think what TNC wants into like
Dire team
Monkey
back.
King potentially. It's a good tiny game. I just want that burst damage to be able to catch up to the Ember Spirit, to be able to lock him down, to be able to quickly turn around onto a Clockwork and punish him if he looks to dive in super deep. I really don't hate this tiny pick. Right now, not too much in lane is going to punish him. If you're going for deep dives, he can just look to get a toss back underneath the tower.
Tiny Pugner's a lane that's very difficult to go into. You got a winning matchups in mid lane as well. Very slightly favor the Storm. Nothing crazy is what it used to be, like 40-60. I think it's more like 55-45 now, maybe even not as bad, just depending on if you have support to help out secure the water runes. But that was definitely a big thing. We saw TNC in game one. The support rotations from Mavis and Carlo was a big reason why they're able to accumulate a lead and the kill lead that they have. It was like 4 and 12 at one stage, but we saw game two, the lanes were difficult. So I think TNC have definitely made amends in that regard.
The thing I really like about this Tiny is that, of course, it's good against the Ember Spirit aggressively, but even against the carries that are still available in the pool, solid against most of them. Like the Terrorblade, 1-to-1, it's not, but you've got a Pugner and a Shadow Shaman, two heroes that are instantly able to clear some of those illusions. That's going to be a really useful to have if they do go down that route. Really, I know I was mentioning Monkey King for TNC.
Radiant team ban. Dire team pick.
Last bans. Summit looking to try and get rid of some of the offlaners left with the Beast and DP, and for TNC banned out the Morphling Phantom Assassin, so the carry pool is continuing to be limited for Unknown.
Yeah, Monkey Man.
10 seconds remaining.
All I want.
5 seconds
In
remaining.
the hero list here.
Radiant team pick.
Let's see, what do they go for? It is good old Juggernaut.
It's okay. I'm a little worried that like Storm can just zip away and Tiny's going to have plenty of armor, so Omni Slash isn't actually going to be able to do anything.
10 seconds remaining.
Unknown does like his jug, so if you're going to give him something that he's comfortable on, go down that route in a game 3 for their first series. But TNT, they have plenty of time to be able to answer this with the offlane hero for Bok.
Choose your hero.
Not a bad Underlord game.
It's not a bad Underlord game, but it has the potential of being a horrible laning stage, is my only area of concern. Like, I think Summit just need to, in the first few waves, look to make sure all of the creeps are gone so that Trezam is able to connect on the battery assault onto the Underlord. He can't just run into a creep wave to get them to soak it up and then just Blade Fury every single time. Like, you should look to get one off at level 1, you should look to get one off at level, and then just keep putting the pressure onto Bok. Hard to be able to take him down.
Yeah, that's something I was going to mention. Like, do you feel like there could be a lack of damage on Summit because you're going to this atrophy, or you're going to the tanky Tiny? You've got the Netherlord as well to reduce the damage.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even consider that Netherlord aspect. I was thinking maybe you might go down like a more magic-oriented route on Unknown, kind of like what we saw from TNC in game number 1. Yue went like Maelstrom, Skadi. He went the Blade Fury talents at level 15 and 20. He got the Aghanim shards, so like lots of ways to be able to deal magic damage into this, and you know, against a Tiny who's going to have a crap load of armor and an Underlord that's blocking physical damage by 35%, potentially even more once he gets to level 20. I feel like those are just things that you need. You need alternative sources of damage. So maybe you go magic, but then you're up against the Pugna, and he's reducing that by 25% just by placing his Netherward. So like, what do you do? It feels like Summit are a little bit more behind the 8 ball this game, so I'm probably going to say TNC for this.
30 seconds to battle.
Nice way to start though. Trezam should find the D ward, so Chris is gonna make sure he denies it before Trezam. What did he do? No,
Easy game.
no. I too am gonna slightly favor TNC, but I think for Summit, the thing I'm really looking at is how they can utilize the jump potential from the Clockwork and the Ember with this Inkswell. I think they are very vulnerable in regards to the range heroes on TNC. And I also think this bot lane could go a bit difficult. You always like to mention kind of the first 3 minutes of the Underlord. That's definitely the weakest stage in this lane. Is it going to continue to be the case into the Blade Fury, or will Bok be okay after that?
His level 3 should be okay, I think, but he's actually already skilled up the Atrophy Aura instead of the Firestorm, so they don't even have an easy way to quickly clear out his creep wave, which I'm a little bit surprised about. I'm already looking to start putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I can't imagine Carlo is going to have too much fun. I mean, this is really not... I think... How do you play this lane actually for a Shaman? He's gone boots first, which I really, really like. I think this is probably the best way you can do it against a Clockwork, because you are by far a big lane encounter, and Jug's going to be able to chase you down as well. But what is Carlo's role in this lane?
Secure range creeps and don't die, basically. Is his role for the very beginning, and the boots of speed are going to enable him to do that. The level 1 Ether Shock's going to enable him to do that. Have Trezam making a bit of this backstab movement, but again, it's early on, it's not actually going to result in any kind of kills. It's just trying to drain a lot of that regen, but wisely enough, Carlo made sure that his regen that he came out was immediately after the bounties. So, still got 4 tangos left to play with.
Like for the moment, mid lane as well. Chris pretty low, but he's got bottle coming out. Mercury as well has the bottle, so nothing crazy. And this match, kind of seen it multiple times now, is going to be slightly Storm favored, but really ever so slightly. I think it a lot nowadays comes down to rotation. So do you feel like TNC or Summit maybe have better ways to rotate and secure some of the runes?
Oh, Clockwork for sure has the better rotation potential. You know, prior to Ember hitting onto level 6, he's still super vulnerable. You could just make sure that you're securing the bottom rune for Krish, and then just get Trezam to deal with the top side.
So maybe they won't be able to help out the Storm Spirit too much on TNC, but is this going to secure some of their side lanes then? Like, is this a big strength for them?
I would say so. I mean, Pugna is just one of those heroes that's better at trading than a lot of other heroes. You don't need too much to have a high amount of impact. You just see here, just gets the little bit of damage in onto the Dragon Knight simply from placing down the Netherward just prior to a range creep needing to be secured. You've got really good attack range. You've got fast movement speed, so you're going to be able to punish out someone like this Grimstroke. It's really solid. Mavis, I'm about to say, nearly revealed that they had an Observer Ward, but you didn't. I'll take it. Now, Sam doing the old, it's hard to lane, don't lane. You really don't want to be running into any of these creep waves as a Clockwork. They're just the bane of your existence. Potentially you get a pull happening here while Juggernaut's still in position to be able to secure a fair few of these creeps. Wild Wing Ripper just giving him a little bit of a hand.
So an even start. Nothing crazy at the moment. I think Trezam, if he's able to find that second point in the battery assault, then Carlo's always going to be in a whole world of pain. I imagine the damage now doubled next time Trezam finds that extra level. So it expires, or Carlo can kind of start to hit back. The movement speed advantage is ever so slight at the moment. Carlo's gonna... Do you consider a Windlace try and deal with Trezem. He's pinging out. He wants Krish to come over. Battle for the
There's 2 points in Shackle.
Ooh, who's going to get the rune? Carlo looks like he picks it up, but instant with the battery soul gets rid of the Shackle's opportunity. Now, since he's winding on the high ground, Mavis as well has shown up to the party. A couple more right clicks, but Mavis hesitant about diving under the tower. Meanwhile, Trezem still getting chased. Carlo has got another Shackles back up. It's 2 points in the Shackles as well, so Krish can close the distance, pump in the damage of the Storm Spirit, and find his first blood.
It's just on the back of a lot of these lanes being so much simpler for them this time around, right? Like they haven't punished the Underlord, so he's already got a 300 net worth advantage. I think Unknown finally starts to get a spin on, but it doesn't actually impact Box survivability at all. He's just gone a tanky build. A couple of braces, doesn't need to worry about right-click trades all that much just because he's got the, like, what is that, like 40 right-click damage advantage? Pretty significant.
Playing Krish, yo, quite close.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
Dockery nearly gave up first blood himself previously as well. He was using Sleight of Fist around the Netherward and nearly ended up dying. So those things that you need to be very careful about when you're playing this Ember that wants to constantly be spamming abilities.
Thanks.
Definitely look like the lanes. The X factor here for the lads onto TNC. So they secured the side lanes. Now the rotation starting to come out from the supports. They've done a very good job, especially with that past water rune timing. See what the job's going to be for Mavis. Kind of posturing back and forth around bottom. Just trying to help scout out for Yolway. Drops a nice defensive ward down by the secret shop. This is also just going to scout out if anyone's moving back to make some stacks. Lane. Might be eyeing up the Ember of Mercury. Doesn't see Carlo's position. He's got to be cautious. They're going to be baiting Krish at the moment, but yeah, Krish, he doesn't have the level 6. In goes the Ember Spirit, but maybe he's overplayed his hand. Because in the end, Krish finds another kill, and this is very reminiscent of our game 1.
It is for sure, and I mean,
Midd's under attack.
they dropped a couple of sentry wards in that mid lane just to make sure that there wasn't the potential for the supports to be able to make a rotation, but it was on the left side of the map, and that's not where he was making his movement to on the Ember Spirit, so it meant that he was completely away from all the information that his supports had provided him, and ended up dropping, giving over a valuable kill. Now Krish has that level 6, and he's able to accelerate his farm.
And what are we expecting out of Summit? Can they make a move with this Elder Dragon form that's soon to be picked up on Crush?
Now I'm starting to get confused between Crush and Krish.
Yeah.
I think maybe they can. I mean, you've got a Juggernaut. You always have potential of grouping up and going, right? Healing Water is such a powerful ability at enabling you to do that. I feel like they just need pickoffs, and right now they're not getting them. You know, Crush is looking to put a little bit of harass onto Yoe, but he's level 6. He's got 1 point in the grow. He's got 10 armor now, so you're not going to be able to completely harass him out.
Nice read, at least for Summit. They do deward the cliff by the secret shot. It was starting to make a rotation top with the 2 support to try and bring down Bok on the Underlord. Not going to be the case, but it does reveal the ward placement. Setting up for bottom, let's see. Crush popped Elder Dragon. Looks like just a farming multi. Should have the magic damage to go through, and he's pretty close to the T1 tower, but the rotations can come through. Double brace with the 1. He's actually more tanky than I was expecting. If anyone came earlier, who knows the turnaround potential, as Krish was falling low, Yolway at half health as well, but it was just Mercury that showed up.
Yeah, CTY unfortunately didn't have the TP available for himself. Maybe if he makes the rotation, he's able to get the ink swell onto someone, discourage them from going in, but like, it's these like second differences. Honestly, that's how close Dota is these days. The average gameplay is just so much better across the board that 1 second can make a huge difference.
See what a start for them. Only 3 kills, nothing crazy, but all the cores farming very well positioned, all in the top 3. Underlord just freely farming top's going to be the Atos first item for him. Well, Yolway.
They're the ones playing for the late game, right? That's the thing. They're happy for it. Late Pugner's going to have more levels, Underlord's going to have more levels. base damage on Underlord himself. You've got Tiny. This is exactly what TNC want.
And really, one thing, hold that thought, Mercury. You're right. One thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that TNC could just do this. They just chuck Buck down bottom in the lane that the DK's in. They know he TP'd back down, so Crush is kind of stuck here with this Elder Dragon form, and Buck would just shove out the wave. And if Crush wants to get aggressive, then he's eating almost a maxed out Firestorm. So I'm kind of surprised they're actually not playing down to bottom, maybe trying to get a pick-off on Unknown, but he's out of the lane.
Under attack.
Yeah, I think a pick-off strategy is fine, as long as their mindset is, okay, everyone needs to make sure they've got a TP. Right now, Krish doesn't. So if they needed to make any kind of defensive rotation, if they go for a dive, he's not quite in the position to be able to do so. Curry is now, but it's still 30 seconds away.
This is important for Buck. He's just making himself hard to kill. Getting himself in the tree line, where if a dive does, it's going to give them plenty of time to force these reactions. Maybe they're going to go for the trade here. Again, TNC. Okay, Carlo does have the level 6. He just found the ultimate available. And they've only got 1 point in the Nether Blast. This will not be enough to secure the tower ship. Certain ones dropped it in exchange for tier 1s.
Yep, I think you're very happy with this if you're TNC. You know, support ultimates aren't going to do that much at this stage of the game outside of objectives, so Carlo very satisfied with that one. He can even look to soak up this next wave as well. Valuable farm for a Shadow Shaman, bringing him closer and closer to some of those key timings like the Blink Dagger. It's still, of course, very important to have that to be able to get the initial lockdown in onto Mercury.
You were mentioning before that...
Dog.
You were mentioning before that TNC are happy with the status quo of this game. Like, they want to be going late game. You feel like they have a lineup that should be able to thrive the later stages is third game. So what are we looking for Summit early in regards to timings to be able to kind of change the status quo and really hit back?
Honestly, good question, because the reality of the situation is Shazam didn't get anywhere near as much, not farm, but like didn't have as much impact as I'm sure he would have been wanting out of the laning stage. He's not level 6 yet at 11 minutes. He doesn't have boots of speed. He's just got the Windlace to be able to play around with, so it's not even easy to like chase a Pugna. Pugna's already very fast, and he's got the boots of speed as well on top of that. Same sort of thing with the Shadow Shaman, so... No, like that. It feels to me like they need to get the level 6 on their supports. ZZY is still barely level 5 now during this range.
Flames will spread thrice.
So maybe make a play around that, get a pick off onto Norm, I guess. He's the main tempo maker and probably the only one that you can kill at this stage.
Where'd the tome go on Dire? Did you see one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think the 6s is what they're looking for, in particular Clockwork, which is got completed now, so you can hook into level 3 into Inkswell. Trezam's in a very good position to be able to pop the smoke. This is a great read from the clock.
Is under attack.
Send it by. Oh, poor Crush. Carlo that has to enter. It is daytime, but can always pogo stick on forward. And Chris gonna look to rotate down as well to offer the damage required. He's targeting Shazam at the moment. Hookshot into the middle, trapping him inside with the cogs, but Carlo, the Serpent Ward on top of the stair line. Oh, Morgan's gonna walk up as well. They're bringing the numbers to take the fight on Summit, but Unknown, he's got to respect the damage coming through for the Undy. But Buck doesn't get the kill. So in the end, a 2-for-1. Even Yolway feeling the importance of the fight.
It was a really good play by Trezam to try and interrupt that, right? Like, he got the battery assault onto the Storm Spirit, he got the hook shot onto the Shaman, who was channeling the Shackles, and he enables at least one of his heroes to get away. Like, you couldn't ask for too much more of him there, but it's just TNC, their laning stage went too damn well. They were able to get a lot more out of it than they have in games 1 and 2, and taking advantage of it, hitting their timings and around that accordingly.
It's going to be a big window now as well. Atos completed on the Underlord. 1700 health. That's not even taking into consideration the effective health that he's going to be playing with. Atrophiori damage mitigation, maxed out Nether Ward as well. And pre-BKB on Mercury's really got to be cautious about the chain control. I think the only way he really keeps his life in these fights is from what we saw in that past skirmish, is Trezam kind of disrupting the backline.
And I mean, it's at this period of the game. This is like SMG-like, where they give a lot of space over to the position 4 when they've got the freedom to do so. Early game went very well. They do it for Afu and SMG. Carlo this time around was given 3 frames on the bottom.
So the corner on the river, there we go. Hook shot with the Inksword combination, but the damage, again, it's lacking with the Netherward it's dropped. A long zip it from Krish. They will be able to secure the first. Onto the second they go. Krish is not going to have too much mana to work with, but... Like how did they not kill Mavis? I don't know, man. This partner here is absolutely crazy. Now they're onto the Emperor as well. Atos to set up. Carlo is able to enter the fight. The chain control is perfect. The answer's going to come through. The blink reveal for Crush. Unknown's showing up as well. Will slightly rectify the fight. I mean, you get your second kill of the game in regards to Summit. It's only on a support and you do lose your position too.
It was on Unknown at least that got the kill, which is kind of nice. I do like the fact that he's going into the Maelstrom as opposed to Battle Fury. Of course, the issue that I mentioned before with going against a Tiny, you can't make it all physical damage. He's just going to soak up every little bit of that. So at least you're going to have some magic damage component that allows you to get active a bit earlier on. I was saying before again, Carlo had a really great Tumbler's Toy, and the reason kill Mavis is that Tumbler's Toy forward, got the Shackle and the full Hex onto the Ember Spirit, even prior to him picking up the Illusion Runes, so Kish was able to claim that one, so he was a big reason why the damage just wasn't there for Summit. You hate to see a DK lineup that's only taken 1 tower at the 15.5-minute mark as well.
TNC,
Radiant
they're going to look to play around mid. They get the deal on the high ground. Oh no, Dragonite they go. Trezan's going to try and counter initiate. The Soulbind is out disrupting the backline, but it looks like it's not going to do enough. It's killed off. That's the one's pummeling to the tower.
Dire structures are fortified.
In short of micro those specifically so that they're not just uselessly hitting in onto a creep wave. It's really the damage from the Firestorm at this point though, right? Like a DK.
Mercury? Krish is playing with an Arc Emperor. Once again, the chain control. Start, pick to follow. Carlo with the Hex. This goddamn pogo stick. On some heroes, it looks really busted, and while Shaman is one of them, especially with the early Aether Lens.
Yeah, he actually switched up, went into the Aether Lens instead of the Blink Dagger. He's just feeling ready to skirmish right now. The rest of the team are all on the same page. He's going to go Tranquil Boots, Magic Wands, just Clarities. Just say, you know what, I don't actually need a Blink Dagger. The rest of my team have really got my back.
Early BKB timing from Krish, 16 minutes in. The outpost. They're going to get another kill. Maybe chain this in, but I think they're lacking the control for Krish. I'll be required to pop the BKB, so you'll take Mavis, 263 gold given over to Trezam. And Yahweh is... I'm honestly quite surprised that he's not much further ahead of the Juggernauts network. This has to be big props over to Unknown and his farming patterns.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I think Unknown's did a really good job of being able to keep up. He showed up at fights at the right time. Just being able to claim those easy kills. It's exactly what you want at this stage.
I'm just watching Carlos work out with his pogo stick. If they get another pick-off, shortly you're going to consider Roche. I'm surprised they're pinging it out now with circle boards. I guess you can start and then pop it down afterwards.
It's a Tiny, man. It's a Tiny with Moon Shard. Dragon Shard at this stage. Probably don't even need to drop these. You will. You'll ward trap Krish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's just block Krish. It's okay. So, do you give the Aegis to Yole or do you give it to Krish?
I feel like you give it to Krish. Right, actually. They're going to go in deeper. I mean, the reason I want to give it over to him is just because I feel like they do have the catch if he goes in super deep. I suppose he's got the BKB. I don't know. Like, it feels like they do have that chain lockdown potential, and he's going to need to continuously play to the clockwork in particular, because he's the one that's going to be making life a lot more challenging for Carlo as well as Mavis, and it really feels like they've been the ones putting in work. But Tiny, I don't see how he dies. Like, he's level 15, he's got the status resistance, 2 points in grow. what are you realistically going to do against him? He's even got a Blink Dagger coming out now, so he's going to be an aggressive menace.
And what about Unknown? Like, we mentioned that he's farming really well, but what are we looking for in regards to items for him to feel comfortable with showing up to a lot more team fights?
Dire structures.
Well, he's going this Aghanim Shard build again, which I like, but he actually went for the healing ward cooldown instead of the blade fury duration at level 15.
He's taking a lot of damage to start. Unexpected burst potential. The life drain's not going to be enough to keep him alive, so a 1-for-1 to start as Mercury deals with Mavis on the back line, but you have to respect Yahweh and the damage coming through from the Tiny. I'm unprotected for the moment, but Summit try and retreat out. What's going on in the back line? Hang on a second, Carlo. Clockwork's incredibly deep, trying to 1v1 a fellow support. Trezam and Carlo both limp away. They even get the first life. Summit somehow doing the help of the double damage and they get a tier 1 tower. But that's a huge sequence of events for Summit.
Not sure how that happens. I mean, Krishy's going to go for the easy kill, punish the fact that they put the ward out there, and actually to get dewarded, but is DK based. I don't feel like that captures the full scope of the fight, though. I think Grimstroke just what I saw. Underlord. So again, it's just going to be all magical damage. So it was very important that they were able to secure that kill. Obviously, the first one that they were able to claim over on Clock, pretty good. But it's going to be much less of a factor once he's got that BKB available. He's only 100 or so gold away.
Signs of life though for Summit. By far, I mean, you lose his age's advantage now, showing that TNC can definitely bleed. It's only 1,000 net worth lead. They are continuing to find these items, but it's going to be TNC trying to hit back.
Going one of these ganks in the style of like what you have with a Nature's Prophet, right? Underlord can join a fight at any time. He's got the BKB coming out to him now.
They got to go now. They got to go now. They're going to do so. Just waiting for him to step over the mark to poker into the instant hex. Mercury gets out though. Try and control him off the back of the shackles, and now Dire, they've entered the fight. Crush is falling lower and lower, protected for the decrypt. That is beautiful from Mavis. And Dire, they got to get out. Summit, you cannot stick around now for the longer drawn out fight. Oh, and then it back to Chris. Longs it from the higher ground, utilizing the arcane move, but he's going to get penalized for it. Entering Summit's territory now. Mercury wants to hit back onto another support as Carlo. Easy pickings. Box the next on the Engenderer. BKB TPR will be successful, but yeah, you mentioned it. That is deep, and Chris, a costly mistake.
Never refuse gold given.
Team fight is the fact that you're around this Underlord and Pugna that have at all, and you know, you might have the arcane root, but he previously used the BKB, so he didn't even have any kind of defensive tool for himself to be able to play with. So just getting a little bit eager on understandable. He's a young guy. He's feeling excited about playing well with TNC, but needs to be a lot more measured with the style of aggression that he has. We're kind of in two minds as well about whether they actually wanted to go in onto Mercury at that time, but he only got his BKB delivered mid-fight.
They're setting up a crush. Yo and Mavis combined together. Just gonna hold back the Tiny and maybe just trying to force reactions, which they will do so in regards to 2 TPs.
Carlo actually not going to get the Blink Dagger at all. Dual 4-staffs come out shortly-ish for the TNC supports. Very value, of course, against a Clockwork. Be able to keep to maybe tank up a few of those Omni Slash hits. Very versatile item. Unknown just continues to farm well. He's level 19. He's top of the net worth against a Tiny that got a very early Ag Shard as well as Moon Shard. So very nice job is Unknown.
Yeah, really would not have expected him to be a high net worth in the Tiny. In this hero, yes, you've been nerfed, but
Radiant's bottom tower is under
you should farm really fast. It's honestly quite dumb to see. So the Unknown is very comfortable on the Juggernaut. closing in onto that 20 talent shortly, but the smoke to bottom won't give them a kill. It looks like it will secure the tier 2 tower though.
Dire's top tower is
10
under
seconds left on Dire's clip, but you're up against a Tiny that's able to melt through this tower pretty damn fast.
Radiant's
Go.
bottom
So
tower
even
has
trade,
fallen.
you'd have to say TNC again are the happier ones with that trade, of course. It opens up the Roche pit so much further. You're able to claim the outpost around that. Really the next objective for them is going to be around that tier 2 perhaps, just to make sure any buybacks are almost entirely useless out of Summit Gaming.
How does an ideal fight look in regards to Summit?
If they're able to somehow burst down the Pugner, that's going to be priority number 1 in my eyes. Like, don't let him get the Nether Ward down. Even if you do, if you're right on top of it, Juggernaut's pretty fast attack speed. He's got the Aghanim shards, so he can look to right-click it during a Blade Fury, and then go from there, basically. To converge, take out a lot of heroes that suddenly become much more squishy when you don't have that layer of protection with the Decrep, with the Nether Ward, with the damage reduction.
Definitely going to help out with their bursts and ways to deal with the backline with Mercury having this Aghanims out. Even got the Arcane in the bottle. See how they're able to utilize this. Of course, we do have to mention though that 25 minutes in, so Krish is going to have the extra bonus coming through from the Nulls, and they're going to smoke as soon as that minute mark hits.
Immediately. Reveal the smoke though, so it's just the rest of his team doing that, but can have an understanding that he's got this Aghanim Scepter online for Krish as well.
Carlo, nice wall. He's unknown. Nope. Easy target to Yo. Is going to jump in the lane instead. Hookshot. Disrupting the combo, but Krish wants to deal with the backline. Stun is out initially. Where's the decrypt here to protect Krish? He's able to get out. A zip for the last second, enough to protect him. Summit, do you retreat?
BKBs used though. Yeah, TNC used all 3 BKBs. They have to get out. Their potential for magic damage is still fairly high on Summit's side, so they're going to rinse and repeat, be happy that they were able to at least survive on their heroes and force a buyback. They can... so TNC's strategy essentially for the next couple of minutes or so is look for when Roshan is up. You might not be able to claim it instantly, but if you're able to get a Grimstroke pick-off into Roshan, that's going to be the ideal output because you now know that he doesn't have buyback. Expect to see CZY just be playing underneath this Shadow Amulet for quite some time and be playing with the rest of his team. He can't afford to go that greedier route anymore where he's shoving out lanes with his Stroke of Fate.
You have unknown 21. He's gone for the extra Blade Fury damage. No surprises. Tiny with the bonus grow as well. So he's starting to do a lot of damage your way. Crystallis now complete. It's a very, very even game 3. Not a lot in between these two teams.
I have to wonder what he's going to go on Jog after this BKB for himself. Not super often that you see Jugs go that build, but maybe just wanting to protect against the Decrep when he's outside of the Blade Fury. Wouldn't hate to see him go on Nullifier after this, that's for sure.
I am not sure if there was... Okay. I'm not sure that... Oh, there was a ward place mid that I think clipped out the smoke. No one pinged on Summit, which... 100% certain if they saw it or not, but they are starting to clump up to unknown. Running away for the team. Don't go for this unknown. They fight. The rest of the team's coming. Spins on cooldown. Remnant to the middle. Instant Mercury's going to try and deal with the backup until the Juggernaut's in trouble. The double vortex and all the cleave damage unknown though. Still alive. The healing ward will keep the Juggernaut healthy. Now he might be able to go back in afterwards. Once again, TNC expending a lot to start the fight. Meanwhile, the backline has been ripped apart, but they're still going to be cautious. As Yowei gets the chain control, but the Ember's going to buy back. A lot of importance on Summit to turn this fight around. But look at the hesitancy. Pit and Bok is out thanks to the Fiend's Gate, and now the buyback on Ember gets them absolutely nothing.
Not what you want to see. It was a really good double initiation there with the Vortex, but yeah, unfortunately not able to clean up the healing ward was Krish. That ended up allowing the Juggernaut to survive, and it would have been such a huge pickoff considering Roshan is up, and he didn't have buyback, having bought out that BKB recipe just prior. giving him an avenue to potentially contest this next Roshan as a result of that. Unknown TPing to the top side, getting the easier, quicker farm. Give him the BKB, and give him the potential to contest this Rosh.
I think that kill should just be Roche now, though. Let's see. No Serpent Ward, so... you worried about that? Firestorm does a lot. Same with Tiny.
I think you're pretty capable of taking this one down, but isn't it? They're going to think better of it. Can't wait to 40 seconds. Like, this is your window. You've got complete vision around the area. You've got outpost control. They don't have tier 2 tower to TP to. There's no buyback. Frisch.
They're coming.
Hesitated.
They kind of get there before Roche falls. Run inside the pit. They're able to bring down the Underlord at the start of the fight. And now Chris doesn't have mana as well. This is a really good scenario. They're going to Omni Slash Roshan. Unknown is going to drop BKB forward as well. He's going to be able to snatch the Aegis. Yowen now needs to TP out. They won't have a way to counter that. Wow, what a big sequence of events for the lads on Summer. You get the Aegis and the Aghanim Shard as well on Unknown.
Some serious hate towards Roshan as well. Popped the Omni Slash just to be able to take him down, but clearly they just realized they had this tiny window to be able to make any... And then there was the value of the BKB as well on Unknown, just allowing it to be that little bit more ballsy.
And you'd hate for Roche to have Lincolns at that stage. Honestly, if the story get popped or just made the call like it's worth it, but I heard he give the shard to his...
For Zam, he's the only one that doesn't have it.
Okay. Makes sense. Let's
But
go.
Jetpack's nice. Vision. It gives a good amount of vision.
Dire's bottom tower is under
That's important. Now you can see Mavis easier. Now you can see Carlo easier. Because I mean, we've been stressing it for the entirety of this game. These supports have to die first on Team C, and Vision is the first way to set that up.
Absolutely. She's gone full Null Talisman now. Forget the bottle, forget the wand, forget anything. Just give me the Null Tallies. Let me dive deep onto the backlines. He's really hoping for that level 20 talent just to be able to that Aghanim Scepter even further. Honestly, wouldn't even hate him going the Blessing into another Null.
Gonna jump on Summit. Get anything out of this, unfortunately. Scout out if anyone's playing around the triangle. Mercury again has another arcane rune with level 20 as well, so he's gonna start dealing a ridiculous amount of DPS.
I'm trying to think what Bok actually needs this game. Like, he's gone the Basher and he's building up into the Abyssal Blade. The best avenue to go down? I mean, it's going to be nice, of course, to be able to maybe get the Lucky Bash on the Ember Spirit and to be able to disrupt those spin TPs away that Unknown's had a couple of times, but I don't know, it feels like he is still fairly squishy, even with, of course, all of his tankiness, just being an Underlord, being a strength hero, having the Atrophy Aura. Feels incredibly survivable, but I guess the Vanguard component of the Abyssal Blade will help a little bit with that.
One thing we haven't mentioned a lot this game is kind of Crush, the counterpart of Lena. DK's almost got a Helbert completed. He's doing relatively well with his farm, taking over the Underlord in net worth, and I imagine we'll go Scepter next item, so Crush will definitely scale well into the late game.
Yep, level 20 shortly too, so be a nice little added bonus. What is this cosmetic though on the DK? Looks like some kind of Power Ranger villain.
Yeah, no, it's atrocious. I don't know. Like, I can only deal with the persona so much, but even then I kind of prefer it. Ooh, it's a long zip.
Four Null Talisman too for you. And a Berries Trinket. Very important, of course, when you're in this situation where you're coming up against the Aegis. It's only got a minute and a half left on it, but just in case you get caught out on the Storm Spirit, you want that buyback potential. 20, so he's got the extra duration on the AoE Electric Vortex, which is going to be a great tool. They'll be able to withstand the Aegis as well. So nice defense coming through from TNC.
you do lose all your outer towers, and I don't think
Dire's
Summit were really in a
bottom
position to
tower
be
is
able
under
to
attack.
push high ground. So it's more like, I think the fact that they even stole the Aegis in the first place, like now they're in the driver's seat. Oh, would you say they're even in the driver's seat? 2,000 net worth lead? Like, it's really nothing in at 33 minutes in.
I still have faith in the draft. I just don't think this Juggernaut is going to stack up quite as much against the Jug. You've still got the Decrep to be able to deal with the Omni Slash. Magic damage can only take you so far, especially considering he didn't talent into it at level 15. I don't know, there's just different aspects that I don't like. Dota Plus doesn't agree with me, but I'm allowed my opinion.
That was way too close from Crush.
Looking for me?
Alright, I'm always like, I love my voice lines. I love the good tip as well. I mean, there's some perfect timings for voice lines, for tips. That was definitely one of them.
It's good to see that, you know, he's still feeling pretty confident on Krish as well. You don't want him to get overawed by the situation, of course.
I hate 1 and 8.
Put his best foot forward.
He's got to be feeling happy. Come on, this man, young, ego-driven position 2. I'm making assumptions, and he's got to be feeling happy. He's playing on TNC.
Absolutely.
Smoke up,
All that
Yowie.
history there.
Get in the charge. Summit, they're not grouped at the moment. So Yoe's going to be able to run into the Clockwork. Easy pickings. The 1-2 punch from the Tiny. This should now give them an opportunity to really get outside the base and maybe de-ward the area. Is there a gem? Anyone got a gem?
I think so. No gems as yet. Pugner really looking to save for that Wraith Pact. So again, just more stuff that's going to make you incredibly hard to kill is always going to be a good thing, and a lot closer to it. Even honestly, just having the Vlads when you've got a Tiny on your team.
Over here now.
Has it finally
I
happened?
don't know. What are we saying?
No, okay. I was about to say a Tiny game where Titan Sliver doesn't drop. It's dropped, but Underlord is holding it. Why? I want to know why.
Yeah, well,
Rich really going for the backlines.
with the Jug, CZY's nearby can give him the defensive insult of need B, and even a B. I'm not sure if it was 7 seconds. Regardless, it's not the worst. Oh, there's a DD. Don't let him get it. Oh, you're gonna let Mercury get it. But there's the damage with just these heroes. You're always standing the wings, waiting for an opportunity to pounce. But now with the backline, you gotta be cautious. You group up because Mercury jumps the Pugner. Now he's gonna be on Takala as well. Meanwhile, in the river, Buck just gets ripped apart as TNC overstep the boundary. Summit show up in big fashion and find 3 heroes with their pants down.
It just feels like they're not all on the same page. You know, Krish went in, he pops the BKB, he's like, all right, guys, we got to get out. And they just don't. They don't all get out. They stay camping around that rune. It's a DD rune, of course, so it's going to be a high priority, but you had a period where you could have actually got the shackles in onto that Ember Spirit, and they just chose not to. They had 2 people committing, 1 person not, and that's the result. You've got to be playing together as a team. That's what separates pro Dota from pubs. 5 now as well on Ultimate Yaga.
You call him Yoga?
Of course I did.
Wonder.
Leveler.
Let the fun begin.
No. Okay. I was gonna say, no way Tradam finds his hook. The mark with the blind hook, unfortunately. Bottom lane, they do see Mercury with this Tinker Ward. TPI'd, I do not believe they're in a position to cancel that.
Quick-ish Roche respawn, just the 1 minute. So really that's going to be Summit's priority for the next minute or so. Making sure they've got all this vision, affinity, able to protect the stairs up onto the high ground, enabling them to walk on into it. They don't have the fastest Roche taking lineup though.
They're going to smoke it into the high ground, but look at Unknown's position. CZY as well. Prime spot to spring the trap, and teams no better.
It's gotten to the stage where don't want supports to be tanking the smoke ganks anymore, especially around these potential Roche tunnels, right? You need them. You need every single hero as part of these, so you just put your tankiest hero on the front lines. For Summit right now, it's the jump. 25 with the extra help. Got the BKB on top of things. Like, he's the one. You got to play around Unknown. I was speaking about in game number 1, you know, how TNC were potentially able to come back from that. And it did feel like it was on the back of late game decision making and shot calling coming out from the likes of Mavis. This time around, I would be very surprised if Unknown isn't the one.
This is huge, Crush. You guys shot there, all grouped up under the wall. Look at the third hook shot as well. Running into block. Unknown's going to be able to join the fight, but the Tiny's getting ripped apart. He's trying to stand his ground on Your Way, but is the damage really going to be enough to turn the fight? It looks like it's not. A Summit. Vision once again winning games as Mercury's hunting Mavis now. Change the hold back to retreat, but the rest of Summit, well, they want bigger and better things. On to Roche they go, and that was all set up because the Observer Ward raided. They placed their sentry down in the middle of the lane. It wasn't able to clip both the Observer Wards on either side of this, and just Summit executing with the vision advantage.
Yeah, another one of those heroes that you can throw at the very start of the team fights is the Dragon Knight, right? He's got the Heaven's Helmet, he had the cover of the Ninja Gear for the smoke aspect, popping the BKB super early, and Shazam's been on point with the hook shots as well, just completely cutting the supports away from having an impact in a lot of these team fights. Now for the gem, cleaning things out. Slash available on the Juggernaut as well. Aghanim's Blessing form. He's going to be looking spam that one out off cooldown just to quickly shove in lanes and take advantage of this time that the Tiny's not available. DD top as well.
We can glyph the wave.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Pop an A on disc on CZY.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Does Jug have Abyssal? I believe he does.
Radiant's middle tower is falling.
No damage because of the healing one. Cool. These Tiny's going to be up surely. They will not lose their full set of barracks. But Crush has Scepter now. Of course, you gave Unknown the Scepter. Cheese on Ember. 19,000 net worth lead. They've got a double damage rune as well. And again, Dire, they have the vision advantage. So they might be able to haul up once again around the triangle to take the fight as Your Way charging in blind. He doesn't see anyone on Summer. You'd hate to force out an early BKB, but he's going to be put in that position to do so. Mercury just tearing apart the backline one by one. He's out of mana. Now with the damage, Your Way's starting to pump in, but it will not matter. Cheese out at the last second. Your Way's gone. Blocks the next to fall as well by the tier 3 tower. It's Summer. They're doing it. They're taking the fight. TNC, they don't have the answers right now.
Yeah, and they have the buybacks, but they just retreat as a team. Level 25 on the Dragon Knight, just so tanky. Of course, in that Elder Dragon form, able to walk over the cliffs, and oh man, 30k behind. This is TNC we're talking about, and they could be about to lose the first game of the series. First series of the season, rather.
All buybacks expended.
Radiant's middle barracks.
So you cannot make a mistake on this last fight. Still got ages as well.
He wants to zip through this just to be able to quickly clean up the lanes. To enable that backdoor protection. Mid lane's the one. I mean, bottom top are shoved in pretty heavily. Krish needs to make a play around that, but he doesn't feel safe until he's got the BKB available. He even sold an Null Talisman just so that he can have this refresher coming back to him now.
Well, your buildings are falling. Need to be an end. They're sending the raid pack in to try and try to lead, but first shot, jump in the middle, seeing if we can catch down any of the supports, but they are super split on Summit, making sure there is no crazy combo potential to turn this game around.
Refresher used as well on the Storm Spirit.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
Somehow they're coming through on the Jug as well. Just more stuff to be able to catch out these friends or people without BKB.
I don't know how they're going to do it on TNC, but somehow you need to jump the Jug and force Summit to group up. The supports need to reveal themselves to protect the Jug, because they're not clumping up on the backline. Always hunting. Avatos finds one support. Krish going to try and deal with the other as well. There's the combo. Enough, get rid of the clockwork. But now Yowe's outside the base, and with the Leash combining two heroes together, that's a dieback on Yowe. Now the hookshot back in onto Carlo, and they're going to call it quits as the open qualifier team taking TNT down 2-1.
Dire victory.
Oh boy! Enjoy your points, Summit betters, because I feel like you would be outnumbered pretty heavily by the TNC fans, and